Yes, hello, I am James Rowland. Today it's the WNR587. It's AEW Worlds End. I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE and AEW show is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, hello. It's been a while, but back at it with another podcast, catching up on everything AEW, or we'll at least try our best to. We're a little bit
Yeah.
behind.
Well, I spoke to Monty last week and we're going to get there. I
Yeah.
reassured everybody we're going to get there. So we're just going to
Yeah,
enjoy the ride.
exactly. I mean, apologies all. We've all had lives.
Yeah, and unfortunately now we're doing a podcast. But again, it's still good to have you aboard. And up next, our resident NXT expert, New Japan demigod, and of course, honorary House of Torture member. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
It's going good. I don't know if I'm allowed to review or talk about AEW since Tony Khan does not like my Lord and Savior Evil, but it's all good. I'll get through it and try my best to not be biased against his company.
Well, that's good to hear. And last but by no means least, so I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. For you are the wind beneath my wings. Yes, the wind beneath my wings. It is Gina. How's it going, G?
Hey, definitely looking forward to catching up with AEW, and I will definitely be the wind to your wings,
Oh,
James.
without a doubt. I feel
There
I've
might be
done
some
that.
turbulence. There might
I
be some
feel I've,
turbulence. Bear
I
with
feel
me.
I've done that song, but you are a real hero to me, G. I just want to let you know that, just you are my hero.
Oh, oh, look at us getting soppy.
I know. We've got to get on with the show now, and it's all about AEW today. We have World's End, but we're going to start with Dynamite and Collision notes as we continue the 2025 Continental Classic. So this is just to catch everybody up from the last show we did. I think was Full Gear. The Blue League was Moxley, Claudio, Takeshita, Roderick Strong, Dorado, and Cassidy. With the Gold League being Okada, Speedball, Bailey, Carl Fletcher, Kevin Knight, Pack, and Darby Allin. That will change soon. On Collision, in the Blue League, Orange Cassidy beat Strong. And Jack Perry has taken Darby's place in the tournament. And the Blue League, Mascara Dorado beat Claudio. And Monet did lose the TV title to Red Velvet. I mean, it's a shame it was on Ring of Honor as well. Lada Gray came up short against Mercedes. And Ricochet defended the national title against Ace Austin. In the main event, Blue League, Takeshita beat Mox. But I felt the last hour Collision was Dynamite level. Before Winter is coming, should just mention Jack's. We'll get straight into it. Jack Perry replacing Darby. I felt a bit sorry for Jack. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, now you're going to use him, are you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be like, oh, gee, thanks for remembering me. But I do think that this is an appropriate and really sort of on level, sort of on par replacement. But I don't like to call him a replacement because he really should have been a contender for this Continental Classic anyway. Like he's, proved himself a lot anyway. So hopefully they won't forget about him next time.
Yeah, hopefully. When it was coming Dynamite, the women's tag team title final took place. And in a pleasant surprise, Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron beat Mina and Tony Storm. But I mean, Monty, do we know why the final was here? Was that the general plan, or was it just like I don't know? It's not like they had a pay per view coming up or anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe the idea is that they want the women's world title to be. I hope not. I hope this is not what we see going forward. But if sometimes they want some of these titles to be kind of like WWE is doing with some of their other secondary titles, where they only get defended on weekly television, and maybe every now and then you get a tag title match or whatever on the pay per view. That's usually not AEW style because they like Tony loved to give us 15 matches, so I wouldn't bet on that. But yeah, it was very interesting placement when you think about it. But I can't really complain. I wasn't expecting the result here, But it was a cool moment, and I thought the match was good too for us to get here. And again, congratulations to Willow and Harley.
Yeah, without a doubt. As we mentioned, Gold League Okada beat Jack Perry. Don Callis made him an offer which Jack refused, but the Bucks made the save. We got a wild tornado tag match. Hangman Adam Page and Swerve versus the Ops. And in Gold League, Cole Fletcher beat Speedball Mike Bailey. And in the main event, Samoa Joe defended his AEW World title versus Eddie Kingston. Joe paid tribute to John Cena and made Eddie tap out. And Gina, again, we spoke about this. I think I go to you most times. We talk about people we didn't know face each other, or if they did. But I don't think Joe and Cena did face each other. So this confused the fuck out of me for a second. Because I was like, is there a match I'm forgetting? But again, it was a nice tribute.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice tribute, but I for sure was like, wait, did Cena and Joe like face each other when I was too young for wrestling? And then I was like, wait, no, they came into wrestling after I'd already started watching it. So when have they fought? So it was a bit to get confused on and wonder like whether they had fought before. If they have, then I definitely have not seen it. But it was still nice to see tributes being shared for John across different promotions.
Yeah, like I say, I might not be on the ball, but hopefully the last 10 years of doing the pod, I would have remembered that match if it happened. But, you never know. Collision Winter is coming in Cardiff. Swerve beat Alexander. Hayton Statlander beat Sisters of Sin. Baber Wrath celebrated their title win with Tony Mina interrupting Sue, followed by Monet to set up a dynamite match. And then we got the Continental Classic Blue League, which was Takeshita versus Claudio. And this ended in a draw. And Jack, see, this is the first time, people probably not, but it's interesting to think, probably first and only time, is a CMLL World Champion taking on the IWGP Champion, obviously, of New Japan. So I guess it had to end in a draw because this was like a real Worlds collide. Talk about politics.
Yeah, I mean, like I did question, when like who are they gonna have win this when like they're both two top contenders, well, champion holders in two different promotions. Who who are they going to piss off with this decision to go over? So as soon as this match started, I kind of figured it might actually go to a draw. I'm kind of pleased it did. I don't really know if either should have been given the win over the other. Having being champions in their own right. But they certainly did well with the match in itself. Like it didn't really feel like it went that long, but they still ran out of time.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, really well done. In the Gold League, Speedball Mike Bailey defeated the Jet Kevin Knight. The TNT title match, Mark Briscoe defeated Daniel Garcia, of course, of the Death Riders. Dynamite and Collision Holiday Bash were in Manchester. In the Blue League, John Moxley stayed in contention by beating Roderick Strong. Omega, Matt, and Nick defeated Tenshinoro Okada and Takeshita to win $1 million. And then Samoa Joe, flanked by Hook and Powerhouse Hobb, confidently signed the contract for the match. Swerve Strickland admitted his respect for the Cowboy and genuine hatred for the Samoan submission machine, but it was MJF arriving to sign the Casino Gauntlet to add himself to the world title match. This was nicely played, and I mean, Monty, what a pop for MJF. He owned this segment, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we know he has the star power. The one thing about Max is when he goes away or whenever, no matter the situation, if his storyline is young, he goes takes a couple weeks off. When he comes back, the all eyes are are continuously always on him and whatever he has going. Even when he was doing the Briscoe stuff and that wasn't like world title related, he still, you knew what the Max part of the show was coming, and he always garners that attention. It just shows you that he's still a very prominent member of that roster, even if he's not, used consistently. So they do a really good job, in my opinion. Of even though I think Max's act is one of those acts that haven't really changed. Like you really think about, he's evolved a little bit, but for the most part, he's been the same old Max this entire AEW run, but they do a good enough job of taking breaks or allowing him to do little side quests to keep him fresh. And now he's back on track, focused on the world title. Like you said, he owned this segment, but that personality of his has always been one of those things that it's hit or miss. Like sometimes you be like, okay, all right, Max, that was fine, but let's get out the way. But and most of the time, he usually is on point, and this is one of those moments where he's on top of his game.
Monet, Athena, and Shafir with Bane defeated Willow, Harley, Mina, and Storm. And the Gold League Pack beat Fletcher. Bandido Ricochet won the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal, setting up a one-on-one match the following week. And the Blue League Mascara Dorado lost to Orange Cassidy. Jamie Hayter beat Isla Dawn. It's always nice to see Isla Dawn. Snap made a save after with a Sister of Sin, but Hayter got Haterade for it. FTR retained against the Bang Bang Gang. And I don't know if it was planned, but then we had another hour of collision. It's funny because it's only taken me like 15 minutes for what was like 8 hours of my life. Look, I'm not bitter or anything like this, but we had we had another hour of collision on top of what we had seen. The Gold League, Jack Perry got his first win, beating Speedball, and Jamie Hayter won the Rev. Not Jamie Hayter, was it? It was oh my God. He won the Red Pro title, beat Mercedes Monet. It was Alex Windsor. Oh my word. I wrote Jamie Hayter and it's Alex Windsor. Wow, what a shot that was. And another shot, Kevin Knight upset Okada in the Gold League. So Gina, two huge upsets. Of course, sorry, Alex Windsor winning the Red Pro title, and then Kevin Knight upsetting Okada.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definite upsets, but in some ways it's kind of a good thing, for them, like Alex Windsor and Kevin Knight, for their growth. But it is kind of shocking like upsets. But again, these are kind of the shocking upsets we like in wrestling, where we're not expecting this to happen. So, sometimes these are nice surprises as well as shocking upsets.
And Monet as well, losing to Red Velvet. Like I said, I know it's only Ring of Honor title now, the Rev Pro, but as you can see, like the magic started to fade a little bit.
Yeah, her downward spiral is starting to come into effect, isn't it?
Yeah. I've forgotten how to speak, but we'll be all right. Dynamite Christmas Eve, the Continental Classic, the Blue League matches. Takeshita beat Orange Cassidy to go top. Dorado beat Strong. Then we saw Gabe Kidd issuing a challenge to Darby Allin for a match at World's End. Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander had a face-to-face. MJF tried a sneak attack on Page, but Strickland stopped him. The Hangman choked him, Swerve tore him up on the mic. Bandido defeated Ricochet to win the ring. Shafir defeated Mina via submission. And in the Continental Gold League, Jungle Jack Perry beat Pac because, I mean, why would they want the bastard to do well? Jack's like, we talk about Pac and it's like, no, just let him stay in the middle of the card. You know what I mean? We don't want to give him an
Yeah,
opportunity to be in a
sure.
semi-final.
No,
Like,
he's
fuck
not
him.
talented at all, he's not great when he's in the ring and he lets loose. No, no, no,
No.
no. It's all right. Just leave him as an NPC, you know?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's how they're treating him. They're treating him like an NPC. And honestly, like when Pac is in the ring and when he's going for it, it actually is like incredible. I'm just gutted for him. I just feel like he's not being given a shot or a chance, whether it's in WWE or AEW. Like, don't get me wrong, he's been doing great work being part of uh the Death Riders, but also he's still like a side character in that. Like, it's always mainly about Mox or Claudio or even Utah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
when are we
he's
going
not
to actually
allowed.
hit go with Pac? Because this man can wrestle, and yet, like, due to injury, wasn't able to be pushed when he should have been pushed, and now he's just been sidelined. So it's like, I don't know where they're going from here.
No, I don't know either. I'm glad. I'm glad it's not just me. Christmas Collision was 2.5 hours long. For fuck's sake. The Continental Classic Gold League. Carl Fletcher defeated Jungle Jack Perry. In the Blue League, Takeshita defeated Mascara Dorado. Roderick Strong defeated Claudio in a really quick match. I was shocked by that. And then we got the Gold League, the Jet Kevin Knight versus Pac, ended in a time limit draw. So Moxley defeated Orange Cassidy to cinch his semi-final spot. So to finish the Blue League, Takeshita was top and Mox was second. We had Claudio on 7 points in third, and then Dorado, Cassidy on 6, Roderick Strong on 3. Monty, is that much of a surprise? How that? I mean, Takeshita being top, I don't think is much surprise, and especially with Moxley there as well.
Yeah, I mean, we really think about it. You can always make arguments for guys like Claudio and some of the other people. Like you guys were just talking about Pac. I know we all want more for him, but Moxley is still that guy. And basically, AEW, as long as Mox is going to work for him, he's going to be at the top of the card. And I'm not really ever surprised that Moxley's there. Fletcher, of course, with 9 points makes sense too. So really, when you think about it, like you said, Takeshita, of course, world champion in New Japan, wouldn't make sense to have him. And he had 13 points, so he was by far definitely going to be in the final. But and of course, Okada's honestly, because of his G1 repertoire and everything that we know about him as far as tournaments go, as long as Okada's in the field, he probably should always be around the top because just based on history alone, almost. So when you really think about everybody who made it to the to the semifinals and all that, you can't really argue with that for even if you could have, maybe you wanted a fresher face like a Pac or a Claudio or Kevin Knight or some of these other guys in that spot. But to be honest, I thought everybody performed well, like Mike Bailey, even though he didn't win it a lot or like he wasn't in the final. I thought he did well. So you can only ask for so much, in my opinion. Uh, but I think everybody who finished in the top four probably coming into the tournament, looking at the field, you'll be like, they would, and it depends on how you look at that. Some people may look at that as, oh man, that's very predictable. I don't like that result, or you can be like, well, no, it just makes sense. They are like the strongest booked of the four. I mean, of the field. So it made sense to me. I enjoyed the tournament for what it was, or at least this process to this point. But yeah, this is I thought it turned out pretty well. I make fun of the imitation G1 or C2 or whatever they want to call it. But I will never. I've been talking about it for years. I always wanted WWE to implement tournament based wrestling because I just feel like so much can be done. I think even AEW could do better telling stories off of this tournament and during the tournament. But I do think it's always great in great television. Maybe the time of year they decide to do it is probably not the best, but overall, I thought this was good.
Yeah, and we talk about the Gold League. Okada did beat Speeble Mike Bailey. So to finish Gold League, Fletcher top, Okada second because of Carl's head to head. What was more surprising though, with Kevin Knight and Pac on seven, was Jack Perry managed to get to 6 points as well, the
Right.
same as Mike Bailey. But Gina, I mean, what were your thoughts on the classic? Because obviously Monty's more experienced with like the G1, which we're kind of getting used to, and I think this is the third Continental Classic now. So it has been maybe around longer than we think, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. I think I definitely look forward to this Continental Classic whenever I see it's coming back because it does give you opportunity to see some matches that you may not have seen or not have seen sort of recently or would like to see someone go up against again. And the Continental Classic is a perfect excuse to have someone who has finished their storyline and feud but you could still get another match out of them with this. So I kind of enjoy the Continental Classic matches. There are some times where I do look at the matches that are set once they get announced and I'm like, okay, so and so has been put into the tournament to get 0 points, so and so, so sometimes it would be nice if they would like pull more upsets with certain matches that they get on this match card. But I do think that they could tell a bit more of a better story, but I still enjoy the whole overall process of it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Jax, anything to add? I mean, you're the only one that's not. I mean, a Okada one. I'm sure you're happy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I think that we've all made some pretty good points about it. And yet again, for me, I just feel like a big waste was sort of Pac, and what he could bring to it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, the countdown was pointless, just repeated MJF promo. And again, the countdown for the show was like 2 weeks before World's End as well, which I don't understand. But the good news is we only had 1 hour kickoff instead of two separate ones. So we finally got December 27th, World's End, 0 hour. And I guess, I mean, Monty, Chicago must have hosted the most AEW pay-per-views. Because every time I'm sure they have a pay-per-view that's not in like the UK or something, it's in Chicago.
Yeah, it has to be like the second or third home base. I mean, I know, besides Jacksonville or whenever they go back to Florida, I know how they feel about that place. But maybe you could say Vegas for Double or Nothing. But yeah, Chicago is just they loved it, and it was always obvious, especially when Punk was there, because you knew Punk music was gonna hit first, and I felt like they toured Chicago 6,000 times. when Punk first joined, but honestly, they've kept it going. They're always going to revisit Chicago. It's a great wrestling crowd for the most part, and I think those tickets sell well too. And I think that's probably the main reason, of course, why they go back. But yeah, man, they love Chicago, and Chicago loves AEW, so I can't complain too much. But it'd be nice to see as the years go by and AEW continues to get more popular. Can they expand their horizons location wise, or will they, outside of just going to like the UK? And I know they've done more things, like Australia and all that. I know they're trying to grow exponentially, even teasing AEW Japan at some point. But at the end of the day, I know that all takes time. But yeah, as far as America goes, Chicago is definitely has to be their second or third top visited place.
Yeah, without a doubt. So we got Renee, Paquette, Double J, RJ City, and Lexi Nair. We saw Adam Cole give predictions as well, which was a nice touch. And then we got the Sisters of Sin versus Hyan and Maya Weld. Blue scored the win for a team. Gina, I don't know if you watched this or not, but my question to you, if you haven't, is why are the Sisters of Sin here for? When do you know what I mean? I just thought it was wasted opportunity.
Sorry, was that question directed at me?
Yes, it was indeed.
Sorry, I missed that. I thought you said it was to Jax. No, I like the Sisters of Sin. So I do think it was a missed opportunity for sure. I think they've been showcased quite a lot recently on TV. So it would have just made sense that they were there.
Yeah, yeah. But again, for match, what would you give out of 3? Because it was a throwaway match.
2.5.
Yeah, fine by me. Jack, see anything to add in the score?
No, yeah, I think it was just there. I mean, again, I do like the Sisters of Sin, but I just feel like they've been sort of relegated as of late, um, to being kind of even like sort of just Thecla sort of like interruptions and stuff like that. So I just didn't really feel like this match like was gonna go anywhere, considering it was just a pre-show match anyway. So I'll give it a 2.5. It's not that it wasn't bad, but again, an unnecessary pre-show match.
Yeah, without a doubt. Monty?
I like Maya. I like her. On specific reasons why, but I like her. But I will say when you're signing two people, because I think her and Hiana are like signed now officially. It would have been nice to actually like showcase them a little bit more if you're gonna put this match here for no reason. I assume the reason is to showcase some of the new talent versus vets in the company like Sky Blue and Julia. But like you said, it wasn't really much here, to really grasp on. So I wasn't really that invested. But we'll see what happens. I'll give it 3.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3. Predictions, WNR Prediction League 2025 after deadline. So there's just Worlds Collide left. The bonus league, Gina on 15, James and Jaxie on 17, Monty on 21. In WWE, I'm on 5, Jaxie Gina on 8, Monty on 11. And AEW, Jaxie James on 2, Gina on 3, Monty on 5. So can we get separated here today? We all went Sisters of Sin and we're all on 1. And then it was a grizzled young vet. Zach Gibson was the man to take on Eddie Kingston. James Drake was by Gibson's side as usual. The Mad King marched to the ring and started swinging, and he won with a DDT, but was attacked by both members of GYV after the match. And Ortiz returned and ended up making the save. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, this was exciting. It was really nice to actually see Ortiz return and actually reunite with Eddie. But I also like, is that gonna go anywhere, or is that a one-off feel-good moment again as well? Yeah. I also like. I'm just also questioning what they're potentially looking to do with Eddie at this point. Like I don't really like. I kind of keep forgetting that he returned. You know. And it's
Yeah.
not to say that he's doing bad stuff, but I also just don't think that what they're doing with him right now is of any significance. So it's kind of easy to forget that like he is actually about, because he's not really involved in any sort of major main storylines. I think he could actually be brought into these storylines. But again, I don't know. AEW have made a few questionable creative decisions as of late, so we'll see what the new year brings, Freddie.
Yeah, I think I mentioned on the last AEW show as well. If Eddie's not that 100% or whatever it is, if he wasn't, then you shouldn't have brought him back until he was ready to be infused. Like, are we just waiting for Ortiz to turn on him? I don't know. Um, Monty, I'll ask you. Grizzled young vets haven't set the world alight like I thought they would. You know, I thought they'd have maybe a little bit more success, and maybe they have on the independents, and I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw somebody refer to them seeming to be on their way up from Ring of Honor. So they just let you know what people think about Ring of Honor. They basically telling you Ring of Honor is like their AEW NXT at this point. So I don't know. They've been kind of when you start off, you get signed to AEW and they just relegate you to Ring of Honor for a while. You almost are just like in a blind spot for me personally because I don't have Honor Club. I'm not watching Ring of Honor at pretty much at all. So I don't. I'm just like you. I'm out of the loop, but I did think they looked good here as being good heels. And I thought this was fine for what it was. It wasn't that long. It was just like a little brawl. Show Eddie's fire. I agree with you guys though. Eddie hasn't really gotten up to much. Even though the funny thing about this is I thought this was funny to have him here when just a few weeks earlier he was fighting for the world title. It's just so weird, weird booking in my opinion to have
That's
him
what
have
I
that
mean.
match
There's
with
like
Joe.
no real direction for him. They're just kind of
Yeah,
plugging him in when they're like, oh shit, we need someone who's good, you know?
right, right. Have him fight some more Joe, and then 2 weeks later he's in a match with a half of a tag team. And like you said, it was good to see Ortiz and all of that. But yeah, it's just weird booking for Eddie right now. So hopefully Nick going into 2026 we actually get some focus for him and an actual story because we know he's at his best when he actually has an angle and have the ability to give those good promos and just do what we know Eddie is good at. But it was a great reunion between him and Ortiz. So maybe that was just the point of this. But yeah, I don't know. As far as the Grizzly Young Vets go, I hope that this means that we'll see more of them on actual television and not erratic, things that like this, and then having to keep up with them through Ring of Honor. Because like I said, at this point, unless you're just a diehard Ring of Honor fan or a diehard AEW fan who has the time, I don't. Yeah, you're not gonna really even know what Grizzly Young Vets have been up to at all. So this was okay. I had a problem with it, but I can't give it much more than a three because it really was. It was just like a 5 minute brawl.
Yeah. But as we mentioned, Gina, it's good to see Ortiz back, and let's hope we can get fully fit. But the problem is sometimes you don't know if they're injured or just not being used. It's like when Dark Order showed up a few weeks back, and I was like, have they been out injured then, or just don't get booked?
Oh, definitely. This is where you kind of think maybe they should bring their little dark shows back just so that, these people who don't get
Yeah,
you do get an opportunity to be doing something other than restocking catering backstage or something. But yeah, it is nice to see Ortiz back. I was a little bit confused like Monty said just now. He was in a title picture match a couple of weeks ago, and then now he's on the kickoff, and you're gonna have Ortiz return, like, and that's during the kickoff, which most people tend to not attend or not watch until the main show anyway. So even in my opinion, Ortiz's return was kind of like downplayed a little bit. And for those who did start with AEW from the very beginning, Ortiz would have been, one of those people that were shown weekly. That he was part of such a great faction, including Eddie and San what's his name? What's his other partner? Santana.
Santana.
That's it. But like they were like, yeah, they were quite hype when they were at the very beginning of AEW. So for me, it was nice to see him come back. I just kind of wish like he would have come back on a main show, maybe put Eddie's match on the main show because he was in a title picture match a couple weeks ago anyway, and at least there would have been a little bit more hype for Ortiz. I'm not saying that the people didn't cheer for him when they did, but it was just a bit more on the quieter side because not a lot of people were there for the beginning part. So
Yeah, without a doubt. Jack, what would you score out of 5?
uh 3.
3, that's fine. Gina?
I mean, the match didn't really go for long at all. It was only a few minutes. A bit felt like a squash match in my opinion. So I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5. So prediction, we went Eddie, so we're all on two. We then got Mascara Dorado and Bandido versus Mark Davis and Rocky Romero. Davis and Romero did a good job not letting themselves be overshadowed by the Luchadors, but the Masked Men ended up taking the victory. Monty, the only thing that went through my head is I guess Brody King is injured at this moment in time. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on the match?
But just like you mentioned earlier, you guess. We don't
Yeah,
know.
no one tells us.
Could have just had the night off. Yeah, we don't know, man. This is fast paced. Like again, once again, not much to it. I don't want to sound like I didn't get anything out of the pre-show at all because I understand the purpose of the pre-show. I just think that because AEW decides to do pre-show that includes 5 to 6, sometimes 4 to 5 warm-up matches, it is very annoying to me when we basically come here and talk, basically say the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I thought, we come about Bandito and Mascara Dorado. It was a lot of flying, a lot of exciting moves. But the thing is like because this is just a pre-show match, there's no context. There's not really much of a story around it. I mean, of course, the match itself has a story, but this is just like one of those. If you watch New Japan, it's like one of those warm up tags that you see some of the legends in every now and then on New Japan pay per views or like on the Road 2 shows. And again, it was okay. Don't get me wrong. I thought, and I love Mark Davis. It's good to see him. I understand that we know Kyle Fletcher is special, but I think Mark Davis, because of what happened at the time of his illness and injury, and how he basically was away while Kyle Fletcher ascended, it sucks to me that he's kind of just stuck here, just being a guy, just a guy. It's kind of like you guys mentioned with Pat, like because they do the faction thing in AEW, there's a lot of talented people who are just guys in AEW. And don't get me wrong, they're talented. They still put on good shows, but it's hard to look at them for more than how they've been depicted on AEW television. But again, I thought this was good. I thought, like again, Mark Davis had good moments. Bandito and Dorado were, of course, being their exciting luchador selves. But this was just a pretty good warm up match, and I thought everybody did well. But it wasn't much to latch on to outside of that.
What'd you score out of 5?
I give it 3.5.
3.5. Gina, anything to add and what's your score?
Yeah, not really anything to add on my part. I think all was said, and I'll give it a 3.5, 3.5 too.
Jax?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I'll give this a 3.5.
Yeah, we're going to give it a 3.25. Predictions, we all went Masked Men, so all on 3. We then got Josh Alexander and a Demand versus Jet Speed and Jurassic Express. The Hills attacked Jurassic Express during their entrance, get an unfair advantage. They took Luchasaurus to the back, and Perry spent a long time recovering while Jet Speed fought 4 men by themselves. But once Perry and Luchasaurus recovered, they were able to get the win for their team. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed this match. I thought it was good. I like the teams that were involved. They loads of promotions love to do this where they have a big like tag team match happen and one of them seems to get themselves hurt and have to be taken to the back. So it kind of sets the tone that the match is not going to go in the face's favor, because they're one man down. So there's always kind of something that happens like that at a pay-per-view when they have a multiple tag match. Did I think Luchasaurus was not going to turn up? No, I knew he was going to come out, whether he was limping or not, and still help regardless at the end. But I still thought it was all right. I really enjoyed the Demand. I love Ricochet at the moment. I like his character. I think he needs to keep pushing on this character and this persona because that's what will get him to kind of, the top gold eventually, like maybe in a year or two's time, he might be able to get up there into the main title picture. But I think this is kind of doing good for him in one sense, but also not so great when he is on his wins are not consistent. So that's what he needs more. So either way, I still enjoyed everybody who was involved in this match. So I did enjoy this match, and I would say that this is the match that kind of got me tuned in to the actual pay-per-view, and this is the match for me that really started the pay-per-view off rather than the throwaway matches that we've had thus far. So I did enjoy it. I like seeing Luchasaurus come back out, and it's always nice to see him and Jack Perry reunited again. It still feels fresh to me, so it was always great to see. So I gave it a 4.25.
4 1/4, excellent. Yeah, and we made a couple of good points there as well. And Jackson, one of them is with Ricochet, and this is the kind of WWE issue as well that they've had over time with mid card champions. Is like because he's got title, he can just lose. So then he becomes a loser, but it's all right, he's a champion. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm,
then when it's he can retain the title and then just lose for the next month.
yeah. I
He's like
mean,
Miz.
some have that talent, you know, to still be over, you know, even when that happens. But again, I think it was. I agree with what my sister said. I think it was pretty easy to call. I was like, Luchasaurus ain't gonna sit out of this whole match and have it a handicap all by itself. So yeah, like it was good that he did come out, and I think, you know, like I really do enjoy seeing them work together again. But I also yet again feel like since Jack Perry's returned, he's a bit like packing, like being a bit of an NPC. Like I know that he's
Mhm.
doing some work with the Young Bucks now and stuff like that, but maybe it's because we haven't had that many sort of like on mic like promos by Jack Perry, you know, like to really like get a feel of his character. Because, like I said before, you know, like he was really good as a heel. He's now turned back face, you know, to be with Luchasaurus and stuff and reunite with that as well. And that's all good and great. But I kind of really still want to see like this cheeky sort of like Loki type character-esque come out of Jack Perry, you know, just someone who just still has a temper and shows it, you know. And I don't know whether or not that's just sort of like the matches. I think it's like the build up of the matches sometimes that like, you know, when the story is not there, sometimes you're not as gripped into it, you know.
Mhm.
So like they could be doing more with Jack Perry and than what they are at the moment. I think that's the point I'm trying to make here. That being said, this was a good match. Uh, so overall, I'll give it a 4. It
Give it
was
a
good.
4. Yeah, no. I completely agree with you there. It was a good match. Monty, anything to add and what's your score?
Not really. I think you guys covered it. I mean, it was solid. I like Gates of Agony. I like what Ricochet is doing for the most part. You know, I agree with you though, James. Overall, you know, because he is a champion, you know, they don't have a problem making him lose. If I had anything to say about this or bad thing about this is that, you know, it does look kind of crazy when you have that advantage for so long, and then the baby faces just come back and basically beats you pretty easy. But you know, it wasn't offensive or anything, and that was fine. And I did like the fact that they kind of did a double pop thing for Luchasaurus and Jack by doing the whole uh, them getting separated from the match angle. So that was fine. Like you guys said, it was good. I give it like 3.5 overall. I thought it was a solid match, and it got everything. It got us into the main show nicely for the most part. And Jack Perry versus Ricochet for the championship seems to be the direction. So I guess we'll see. Maybe that's where we're going. I don't know.
Who knows at this point? Yeah. I'm going to give it 3 3/4 predictions. The girls went demand, the boys went the faces. So it means Monty and I are on 4, Gina and Jaxie on 3. As we get to the main show, it was Takeshita versus Okada in the semi-finals of the Continental Classic. The winner, of course, will go on to face winner Moxley versus Fletcher. And he didn't rush into anything and spent a few minutes just going for holds and counters. They played into the tension that these two have had for the past few months to make this feel like it was more than just the tournament. There was personal pride on the line. Unfortunately, the ending did fall apart a little bit. Okada used a screwdriver to get the win in a moment that the referee should have absolutely seen. I mean, I'm trying my best here, Jaxie, but my God, that
No,
finish.
I mean this was pretty hard to like. Yeah, but I think this ruined the match. If I'm honest.
I mean, I couldn't
It,
believe it started the show because of how big the match was, and then it's that finish, and
yeah,
I'm going, oh no.
yeah. Um, like this was quite infuriating, I think, and like not from a like you know I'm a huge Okada fan, but I just also feel like the way that it ended, it just wasn't good, you know.
And with all that build up as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the build we've been wanting. It's one of the few one-on-one matches that I've wanted to see, that everybody's wanted to see. It starts
Mm,
the show, and
yeah.
again, maybe it was a little bit slower than a lot of people expected, but I think it's left a lot of room for kind of future matches, if you know what I mean.
Definitely, this definitely is not over, and if anything, I think is the very start of a potential ugly feud between Okada and Takeshita. And this is how you build good content. But I just think, for the fact that this was for the Continental Classic, yeah, I mean, safe to say I was a little bit peeved, especially with sort of like what I had sort of going into this prediction wise.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we will get there in a minute. You're right about that. I mean, Monty, this was again interesting. I want to get your thoughts on it as well because like I said, we've been anticipating the matchup so much. Maybe we got
Yeah.
too excited for it, you know?
Well, I mean, I don't want to blame the fans, man. The execution is the problem. Like you said, the placement on the card. Even though I understand it, but like, let's just go ahead and I'm gonna say the elephant, or not necessarily. I'm not saying this not what you guys don't want to say, but to me, this is just the result of putting the cart before the horse. AEW or whoever agreed to let Takeshita win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship before the Wrestle Kingdom, and if you just waited and let him win the belt at Wrestle Kingdom after winning the G1, as tradition used to be, maybe you could have actually got a legit finish to a couple of these Takeshita matches instead of something screwy like that. Because Gato is no way Gato was going to let Takeshita lose clean. He gains nothing. No matter how much we love Okada in New Japan, and fans would understand, it's just not going to happen. They weren't going to let the IWGP champion lose clean to an AEW guy. And then I saw a lot of. I noticed it, but I just want to say, if you thought this was going a little slow, or you didn't like the urgency of Okada, the placement of the match. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not saying he does this on purpose. I don't know that, but Okada in the first match on the card, you're not gonna get Wrestle Kingdom Superman Okada if he's first. Like I'm not. I just know how traditionally Japanese, and not just Japanese wrestlers, but guys who are main event talent on the New Japan circuit, usually how they look at. They take their placement just as serious as wrestlers did back in the day. It's just like I know we look at the opener as just as important as the main event, and we should. But in Japan, Okada was a last bell ring type of guy, and putting this match first, no matter all the hype. And I understand why. I mean, of course, I mean it wasn't going to ever be last. So, but at the end of the day, I just think that some of that urgency and some of this that passion that you kind of can see from Okada every now and then when he pick and choose, you're rarely going to get that in the first match, no matter how well they built up his first encounter with Takeshita. But the execution of the finish, the choice of the type of finish, in my opinion, because I feel like they could have got out of this in a simpler way, but they just chose not to. So it was what it was. I do agree with you guys. The good thing is I don't think this is over, and based on things that happened on January 4th that we'll talk about at some point, I think you guys could at least be able to see a freer version of Takeshita fighting Okada. But yeah, man, this was what it was. I thought it was okay. It was pretty good. But yeah, I think it was another situation, kind of like Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles at WrestleMania or whatever, of us seeing it in our head and just being like, oh man, we know that these guys are going to rip the building apart. And this still had the potential to, but it never really got up to that level. And we know they both can go a step or a couple steps higher, even though I thought Takeshita was pretty much his same old solid self. But yeah, man, I wasn't too offended by it, but yeah, I just think a lot of the problems that happened with this match and the weird finish and all of that probably could have been avoided if Takeshita wasn't the IWGP champion.
Yeah, but still, it's annoying prediction wise, isn't it? Gene, as we speak about that as well. Like, we thought Takeshita would beat Okada. Like, come on, that was the whole point of it, wasn't it?
I mean, after the year that Takeshita has had as well on both AEW and New Japan, I kind of expected him to get the win. Yeah, I thought,
Yeah.
in some ways it was going to be a slight, not passing of the torch, but Okada's going to be, back and forth with Tanahashi and his final match. Maybe like this time around, the focus can be on Takeshita. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, it shook me. I didn't see him getting the win. It really shocked me.
Yeah, no, it was a surprise, I will say. All right, out of five then. Jackson, what would you score it?
Yeah, I'll give this a 4 again.
Give it a 4. Monty
4 and a quarter.
and Gina.
Yeah, I think if the ending was a little bit better, it might have gotten a higher score, but I'll give it a 4.25 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.25. Predictions. We all went to Keshta apart from Monty, who, of course, went Okada. So Monty's on 5, I'm on 4, Gino and Jax on 3. The second C2 semi final match saw Moxley take on Fletcher. It looked like Fletcher was getting under Moxley's skin until the leader of the Death Riders followed him out the ring and started beating him up. Fletcher trapped Moxley's leg between the ring and steel stairs to cause some damage, so he was able to take control. After both men came close several times, Fletcher looked for the screwdriver that Okada used earlier, but he couldn't find it. Fletcher did kick out to Moxley's finishers, but he wasn't able to last through a rear naked choke, and Moxley got the win. Monty, my God. So Cole didn't watch the opener. That was it then. So that's I don't know, man. What I don't know.
Yeah, that just cracked me up it just cracked me up that that's what he tried to do. This was great, man. This is one of them reasons why at the end of the day, no matter how annoyed people were with Mox or how long his run as Death Riders leader and super bad guy could have been. I understand why people had their complaints, but this is him at his best, man. Like he was a big bad heel. You know who he was been. He was who he has been at the beginning of this match, but by the end of it, he had these people and had everybody just rooting for him off just pure psychology, pure resiliency. And I think this is one of those things that you show people. This type of match right here is what you show people if you want people to understand why AEW put so much of their time and so much investment in a guy like Jon Moxley. And Fletcher, once again, we know. Come on, man. We know at this point it's pretty obvious that Fletcher is main event level, and he's been main event level for a while now. Now he's just finally getting a chance to work. Hopefully, going forward, working more consistently with the main event guy. Uh, he took a nasty bump on the head. I know what AEW is all about, and I'm not trying to be any type of way, but it's just like you'll be remiss to act like you don't get a little bit concerned when you see a young guy like Fletcher drop on the neck head area like that. But he's incredible, man, for somebody that's so young to be that good. And then you have Moxley, in my opinion, kind of being able to just show his versatility in this match. I didn't see anything really wrong with it. I mean, maybe you could have asked for a different result, but to be honest, after the way this match played out, it was a pretty good 20 plus minute match that I thought by the end of it, I was really satisfied with the story they told. And this was like Moxley at his best and AEW at his best because, in my opinion, Moxley is AEW.
Yeah, without doubt. Like I said, Moxie's right back in the picture, and you made a great point as well. And Jeannie, you landed on your head is bad is when William Regal has to have a word. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
say to Fletcher, like, Fletcher, just be careful. Oh shit, maybe it was a bad bump.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will say that the bump is the main thing that I took from this match. It was a great match, but I just keep thinking about that bump, and had it been any more worse, that could have been it for Kyle. So I think it does highlight the importance for wrestlers to still be vigilant in making sure that they're not breaking their bodies just for our entertainment. um as much as we enjoy seeing matches get rough and shock us with a lot of like painful moves, I think we all as a fandom would still prefer the wrestlers to make sure that their health is in top check. We don't want anything horrible happening to them. But saying that, this match was great. I didn't see, again, I was a bit shocked by the outcome. I had an idea in mind of how this classic was going to end. So for me, I was kind of shocked because I had mapped it out. Um, but I'm also not mad at it. I think it showcased the guy's great, and I think Kyle Fletcher really is the future of this company, and he's just shown that
Mm.
he can already play on a level field with those who are in that top picture. And like Monty said, Mox is AEW. If you can handle yourself in a ring with Mox, you know that you're up there. So yeah, for me it was a great match still. Sad about the outcome, but more because of my predictions.
Yeah, and Jaxie, I mean, again, we've spoken about the match calls, but it was an interesting choice to have the four hills in the semi-finals. Like I said, maybe that shows more about how strong the hill side is than the face side at the moment.
I found it very interesting for sure. for sure. But it wasn't bad either. You'd think that there would be something lacking not having like like a top babyface in the final, but um, I think it gives like incentive for all the heels to be their most asshole selves that they can in order to get what they want. And we kind of saw that from the first match anyway. We saw that that was the intention, that Kyle even wanted to go down just to actually get that win. So I still think it worked well. I don't think it lacked anything in that regard. But I should have saw this coming, and I would have seen this coming as a result if I had gone the other way with the Okada match, the Okada Takeshita match first. I didn't really expect it to not swing in Moxie's way when we saw that it was going to be Okada going, through to the final. So I thought it was a good shot, but again, as you guys said, there's a lot of there's been a lot of discussion and importance around sort of head and neck injuries, especially with I forgot his name, is it Elton something from Pretty Deadly, and what he did to his neck. We've all seen what happened between Ridge and Big E. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with us just sort of like, emphasizing, and even William Regal emphasizing, just really go careful when taking these bumps, and just remember like the basics and the main way to keep yourself safe. We all want to have a good match. We all want to see a good match, but not to the extent that you're going to break your neck or walk away potentially with a life-threatening injury. So yeah, overall it was a good match. It was one that I should have expected.
Yeah, no, they're excellent points. Monty, what would you give out of 5?
4 3/4.
4 3/4. Gina?
Yeah, I'm gonna go same actually, 4 3/4.
Jax?
I'll go 4.5 on this.
I'm gonna go 4-3. I've really it's annoying because I was pissed off with Mox, and I never saw a card at Moxley in the finals. Well, I will admit this, and yeah, even this match, I was like, well, I don't really care about this match, but it got me involved, and yeah, no, I'm really impressed by it. Predictions. Monty and I went for Mox, and the girls went for Fletcher. So Monty's on 6, I'm on 5, Gina and Jax are on 3. And then we got Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson getting another shot at Dax and Cash for the AEW tag titles. But this time it was a Chicago street fight. And as soon as the match began, the fight spilled out of the ring. Harbour tried to use a chair to maim Robinson before they began fighting in the crowd. Meanwhile, Wheeler and Gunn fought up the ramp to the stage. I mean, this was an entertaining bit of mayhem that highlighted the willingness of all four to put their body on the line. Stokely saved the match for his team with Harwood about to lose. This allowed FDR to make a comeback and get the win with a few power drivers to Gunn. I mean, Gina, what are your thoughts on this? I'm laughing because when I say Stokely, he cleared the table. He didn't go through the table, but he did save the match for FTR.
Yeah, I think Stokely was the little MVP for this match, wasn't it? Look, I think we all went into this match still loving Juice and whichever son it was. I always get his name mixed up. I just remember Austin's name. I don't remember the other one. Is it Austin?
It is Austin, yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't get me wrong, love them. I'm so happy Juice is back as well. He's always entertaining to watch, but I didn't really go into this match believing that they were going to come out the winners against FTR, not just because FTR have just won the belts back themselves, but also because they've got bitch ass Stokely in their corner. Whenever he's going to be there in the corner, you have to expect his involvement. So they were already going to be slightly a man down if you want to take it into effect, because it's a street fight as well. There's no DQ, so it's allowed. So yeah, either way, I still took it as a fun match to then follow these Continental Classics. I thought it was good to put this match next following it. It was entertaining, very much entertaining. I like Stokely. I like Stokely being a bitch. I like the crowd hating on Stokely. It's always entertaining to me. I do love a bit of silliness in wrestling, and sometimes that silliness can help work, and when you've just had like two big grueling classic matches for the Continental Classic, I think a match like this was definitely warranted in the middle to kind of reawaken the crowd, and let them know, hey, there is still a lot more to come on this card. So yeah, I think it was a great match, and I'm not mad at the outcome either. I think Bang Bang Gang will get their time in the tag championship range, but it's just not right now. So yeah, fair play to them though.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the crowd didn't believe FTR would lose. But Jax, it's only when you get matches like this you realise the tag division isn't stacked. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it used to. I'm pretty sure it used to be. But if this is who the challengers are, I
Yeah.
know we got the Bucks, but there's not that many, is there?
Well, I mean, I think it was during this match that I did sort of make a realization to be like they have lost a lot of great tag teams as of late. I think that some of the obvious being in the room. You have Proud and Powerful. We talked about Ortiz returning earlier, but obviously Santana's now with TNA. You've got the Lucha Bros who are now not doing tag team stuff on two different in the same company on two different ones, like one on Raw, one on SmackDown, which makes no sense. The tag teams that they do have in AEW are strong, but they've not actually been putting them in storylines, so we've kind of forgotten about them. Like again, like I know that the Gates of Agony are around. We could be looking to push them more. You guys brought up the Darker Order earlier. I forgot that they were still around. I didn't know if they were off doing their own thing. Like they haven't been pushed. And when AEW first started out, they were a big part of the tag division. They've got some strong tag teams, but they're also not utilizing them in the right way. So yeah, we get a match like this, which is good, but this was a tag match that probably could have happened on a Dynamite and it would have still been good.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah, I've just realised we're the Hurt Business. So I know on holiday, have they taken Christmas holiday or something
I
like
mean,
that?
I
I've
don't
just
know. Was there anything to do with Bobby Lashley being off injured or something? Because I also noticed, like, I think in one of the recent Dynamites or something, it was just Shelton Benjamin in a singles match as well. So I'm not sure if I don't know how far this went. I did read online, and again, don't I take this with a pinch of salt on what you read online, but I heard that like someone said the Hurt Business don't really like losing, and so that's the reason why none of them were put in the Continental Classic as well, because none of them want to take the L's to people.
yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but I just think that if there's no injury, then maybe the Hurt Business have just been kept off for a little bit because they don't want to lose to anyone currently.
That's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, interesting. And again, another tag team missing, and Monty. I don't know if you've got any updates where Cope and Christian are. Are they in a retreat somewhere? Something like that? 'Cause I thought they'd be back by now, but it might be Revolution then, I guess.
Ain't Copeland playing Aries for that Percy Jackson or whatever? I don't know. I thought Copeland was doing TV last time I seen it, and not wrestling TV. So I don't
I
know.
think he was in
Uh,
that Percy Jackson show. He
Yeah,
was,
yeah, I
wasn't
know.
he?
Yeah, he's on that. But that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm not sure if he's doing that right now, but yeah, that's the last time I've seen him doing anything because he's been away from AEW that long at this point. But I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming at some point they'll pop up, like you mentioned, James, this year. But yeah, they've been gone, and I mean, at this point, the tag division is what it is. It's a bathroom break type of placement on these shows, and it sucks because we know uh, at the beginning, especially of AEW seemed to have a lot of pride for these belts, and maybe that's why I think maybe we should shift focus to the women's tag division and make that the one of the more prominent things on AEW television and shows. While they continue to try to build or rebuild what we're missing in the men's tag division right now, maybe that's the way that they can kind of cover up a lot of their issues because this, like you said, this was good, but this is with the Bang Bang Gangs like B or C team because it's not even the Gun Brothers together. It's not Juice and we know where Jay White is. So this was good though, or at least it had funny moments and good moments to it. The crowd, I guess I'll just chalk it up to those intense Continental Classic matches, but they had their moments, but for the most part, they didn't seem to care, and that just kind of shows you where we are right now in the tag division, to where when the tag titles match happened, you know, we don't really care as much. So it was okay. Don't get me wrong, and I thought they worked hard and it was fun. And like I think that's the way to go when you don't really have the talent, or not really say talent, but when you don't have the story or whatever to try to just have a straight up tag team title match. So I do think that you go with chaos and just let those guys go out there and do their thing. This is a long show. this was easily forgotten after about a hit of the show. So I
Yeah.
do think that kind of sucks too because Stokely did that crazy bump, and or how hard the rest of the guys worked. And the only thing I can remember is Stokely missing the table. So yeah, man, this is I don't know what else to tell you right now. That's where we are with
Uh,
AEW's tag division, and hopefully by the time we do the next review, we in a better place. But we'll have to see.
yeah. Excellent. So Gina, what would you give it out of 5?
Uh, it was it was still quite entertaining, even though I kind of knew this outcome was coming. I think I'll give it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Jaxie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to add to this, but I do think it was a good match. Overall, I think I'd just give it a 4.
Give it a 4. Monty?
Yeah, 3 3/4.
3 3/4. I'll give it 3 1/4 predictions. You all went FTR, so Monty's on 7. I'm on 6. The girls are on 4. The AW Women's Tag Championships. What's next? The Babes of Wrath versus Athena and Mercedes Moné. And the champions took control early and maintained the upper hand for quite some time. But the challengers managed to work together there enough to make a comeback after a few minutes. All 4 women did a good job making this entertaining, and there were some great spots towards the end. Athena and Monet had a few miscommunications that eventually led to the champions getting the win to retain their titles. We should say Willow did pin Monet, and I've got a theme stuck in my head at this moment in time as well. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on the match?
I mean, I think that there was a bit of shock at Monet taking the pin here. I thought, especially as we've already kind of discussed, with uh her sort of losing 2 belts and kind of slowly but surely going on this spiral. I think this like confirms it. Like she's the one eating the L here. It wasn't Athena. And I think in a way is good. Like I think that we need to maybe potentially see like an unhinged like Mercedes just losing her shit while she's losing everything that she's worked so hard for. So, it's completely it's I did see this outcome happening. Like I thought it was a bit too cruel to actually like put like the first ever belts on like Willow and Harley and have them lose it this quickly. But I do think that like they told the story well here, and just kind of seeing this spiral of Mercedes maybe losing it a little bit.
Yeah, without a doubt. No, I completely agree with you. I think that's the money story at the moment. And Monty, I mean, I get building a tags division, but I think more needs to be done with Athena. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know she's been Ring of Honor champion for 8.5 years, but again, more consistent on AEW television.
I'm done. I'm done asking because I feel like I've been asking since she signed for her to actually show up on AEW television. So obviously on purpose that she's been stuck, or she's been able, or maybe she wants to just be ring. I doubt it. I'm sure she wants to do more. I think we all know she has the potential and capability to do more. If you really think about how her quality and how good she has been for how long she has been, she could have been just as much of the face of the women's division in AEW as Tony Storm has become, or in this time period. If you really think about how long Athena, like you mentioned, has been on top of her game and in Ring of Honor, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought this was fine. Uh, I I'm not. Again, I'm with you overall. I think the tag division needs building, so I understand why we have Mercedes and Athena doing this, and I think Athena and Willow in this shine really in this match. The crowd again, a little bit shoddy, but this was fun, and I think it's kind of cool to see that Willow and Harley was kind of on the same page. Meanwhile, the reason why Athena and Mercedes lose, they weren't, but it makes sense because they are solo acts in a sense, and that's kind of a good story to tell when you're not, because the tag team titles are for tag teams. No matter how many times I've watched two
Yeah.
singles acts take out tag team like it wasn't nothing. You have to get that WWE programming out of your brain. This made sense. This was good, and yeah, I didn't have a problem with it overall. But I'm with you, James, 100%. But I'm done asking because obviously Tony ain't listening. So do whatever the hell you want with the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this match, but like I said, I think it's hurt by placement. Either that or the crowd had just been dicks. And I mean, Gina again, good for Willow and Harley. There's no doubt about that. But again, Monet hasn't defended her TBS title on pay per view since Wrestle Dream. You know, so again, that's been a little while. It's like, can't we have more than two women's feuds or three women's feuds in AEW? Do you know what I mean? And have different titles rather than everything just merged together.
It does feel like they can't have more than two feuds for the ladies going at one time, and we forget there are several storylines that they've got potentially out there with the female roster that doesn't have to revolve around the belts. They've got plenty that they can do. They've honestly, it's just, it is a bit infuriating because they have a lot of female talent, and all of this talent are great, you know, and a lot of these ladies will actually learn from being in the ring with each other rather than keeping the same sort of group of ladies together. They all need to branch out a bit more. I think like they have kind of stuck to similar themes and matches with the ladies. So yeah, it would be nice to see a change going into the new year for the women's roster, and seeing more storylines happen, not necessarily even around the belts, just, you know, grudges being put in place and things like that. But I overall still enjoyed the match, and I think Harley has come such a long way from when we did first see her. And I think
Mhm.
she's a little bit like, oh, I can't remember his name. He was on WWE. He was doing the most backstage, like handing out flyers to advertise himself. What was his name? And then he got let go from WWE and did a sob
It's
story on Twitter and got hired again.
Is it Heath?
The one who's got know. No, no, it was someone else. But either way, it's kind of
Was
like
it
that.
Matt
Harley was a
Cardona?
wait, did Matt Cardona go around handing out leaflets?
Oh, no,
No,
I
remember
assume he
someone
has to
was,
get back.
he was a little blonde guy and he was handing out flyers to advertise himself. I can't
James
even remember his
Ellsworth or something
name.
like that.
It might have been, I don't know. Either way, I
That
was
blonde
like,
guy.
Harley's kind of like that equivalent, but it's worked for her because her parodies backstage gained her so many fans that people want to see more of her, even if she doesn't have the same caliber in the ring as Willow or Mercedes or Athena. She has probably just as much hype as those three ladies, you know, just because of the built the how much she's built on her character. So either way, I still am happy for her. I didn't think that it would be right for her to lose the belts for them here, so I'm glad that they managed to retain.
Is it Drake Maverick? Spud, the little
That's
fella.
it. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be Drake.
Because
It
he
could
got
be
released
him.
and he did release a
Actually, yeah,
video of
I
like,
think it could
oh,
be. Yeah, yeah. I think I remember
I'm
him
glad that you
doing
guys
that
know what I
before.
mean and what I'm
Yeah.
talking about at least.
well, that's all I was thinking about. I saw I should have been listening, but for the last kind of little blonde guy, little blonde guy.
Little
So,
blonde guy. Yeah, but no, it was still overall an enjoyable match, and like I said, I think I agree with Jax in the sense of we need to see Mercedes take more of these L's to kind of bring out maybe a different side to her character and being a bit more sulky and seeing all of her hard work just go down the drain, you know.
yeah, seeing that mask slip. Jaxie, then what would you score this out of 5?
Um, I'll give it a 4.25. It was a good match.
4.25. Monty,
3.5.
3.5. Gina,
I'll give it a 3 3/4.
I give it 4.5. I must have really enjoyed it. I only watched it yesterday. Predictions: we all went Babes. So Monty's on 8, I'm on 7. The girls are on 5, and then we got Darby Allen versus Gabe Kidd. Allen exploded out the corner with a running drop kick as soon as Kidd got to the ring. It took Kidd a couple of minutes, but once he regained his footing, he threw Allen into the timekeeper's table and hit a slingshot into the steel stairs. They were set up with a metal plate that popped off when Allen hit it. Darby began bleeding from his head after the spot, so Kidd pounced him and made it worse. But a few moments later, Kidd was bleeding even more. Allen used a classic wrestling count to get the win, reverse a sleeper hold into a pin to get the 3 count. Monty, this is what Gabe's doing. Is he all elite yet? You know, or I don't know. Like, what do you think?
He might as well be. This was just stupid to me, man. I mean, I'm not gonna act like it was bad. Like they went out there, they bled, but let's say this: it was a short, concise match, but they had enough time to try to kill each other, and they were bleeding, and but the question that a lot of fans don't want you to ask when you're watching some of this stuff is why.
Mm.
And that's the thing. And it's like I understand Gabe Kidd has like a loose or like maybe he is an honorary Death Rider at this point, but it's just like, what are we watching? Why are they half killing each other? Why are we watching a bloodbath, a 10-minute bloodbath between two guys with not really any stakes, especially on a night where every other match pretty much had some kind of stakes. So my biggest problem with this match, don't get me wrong, I thought it was fine. I probably would say 4 stars overall. Darby does what Darby does. Darby's excellent. We know at this point what it's all about. Gabe is he shines in these type of fights. So if he is all elite, I'm not acting like I'm not dumb. I think he'll be fine. But Gabe talked a lot of shit about AEW, and at this point, if you're a New Japan wrestler and you speak ill of AEW, I'm just assuming you and Tony are texting and you're good friends at this point because like almost everybody who thrashed AEW, except my goat Tetsuya Naito, ended up in AEW and working more there than they are in New Japan. I'm not oblivious though. Gabe has ties outside of any relationship to Tony. Like I get it. The guy who trained him and helped save his life, Shibata, is AEW. So like I'm not dumb. It would make a whole lot of sense. And I'm not mad or anything. He's an independent contractor. Do whatever the hell you want. But it is funny when he was one of the main guys speaking about how New Japan for life he was and how anti AEW he is, and now he's been following behind Moxley way more than he's even been a war dog pretty much at this point. And so I'm not letting that affect my rating, in my opinion, of this because I do think it was a good little brawl. But it's like I said, the purpose of this match, I'm not sure. And then, like I said, Gabe Kidd being there and just kind of, again, doing this. And like you said, this is what he's doing now. It's just like, all right, whatever. This is fine. It is what it is. But I don't think this needed to be here. And overall, it's hard for me not to bring that up.
Yeah, I think you're right. It did feel a bit long, and with no stakes in the end, it turned into just filler. But Gina, it's weird. Darby sure likes to get thrown downstairs or onto him. You know what I mean? He must have like a fetish or something like that.
I don't know what goes through Darby's head, but he absolutely loves being dashed down some stairs. He really does. I can imagine him saying, right, so we're gonna throw me down some stairs, and like the other guy that he's facing is like, again? Bro, like I don't want to keep dashing you down some stairs, man. Your poor back. Like, I honest to God don't know what it is, but if I see Darby Allin in a match and him not take a horrible, nasty bump, I'm actually going to be like, what's wrong with him? He's not taking a horrible bump this match.
I know.
It's just not a Darby match, really, if you don't get a nasty bump. So again, I enjoy seeing Darby Allin in matches. I'm not gonna lie though, I thought I'd be much more excited to see him versus Gabe Kidd because I thought I liked Gabe Kidd. I say I thought I liked, I enjoyed seeing him in New Japan. I forgot he was all elite. So when they did announce this match for this match card, I kind of was taken aback because I forgot he was in AEW. It's like,
Mm.
again, I think we spoke about this earlier in the show. They've got people on their roster that they let sit on the side for a couple of weeks. You forget about them, and then they're just like, all of a sudden, yeah, this person's back because they're in a match with them. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I know, I completely agree. And Jack said, I don't think there's much to add, but of course, all kids want to see a video of Bunny decomposing, don't they? I mean, that's what we want. Like, I was like, what the fuck is that video at the start?
Yeah, I mean, what that opening graphic, yeah, because I was
Yeah.
like so confused by it. But I think a lot of my thoughts on this match very much align with what Monty has said. Like, to be honest, this felt like, them going into this match saying, what is the craziest shit that we can do? Let's just do it. And like, sometimes there's a need for it when there's been a build up of a story and stuff. But going back on what Monty, sort of brought up, like, really, there was no real reason why Gabe and Darby were like feuding, really. Yes, Darby feuded with the Death Riders and he's got an issue with them still because he don't let shit go. But like, also, again, like once he said, Gabe's like what, like an honorary member of the Death Riders. Like he's not fully signed with AEW, is he? He just makes like random appearances. So I'm kind of like, Darby, what's your issue with Gabe? And Gabe, what's your issue with Darby? Like, So this
Yeah.
this match is what it is, and again, it was a good match. But I also was just like, Darby just was like, give me a match where I can draw blood, please. Like I don't know who's worse, like Darby or Mox at, you know, like the brutality that they want their matches to be like, you know.
Nick and Nick.
Like, I feel
Yeah.
definitely more, probably, but I think that that's more likely because Tony Khan has probably given, you know, an extreme list of no's to Darby that he's probably like brought up before as ideas, and TK's gone, no, I'm not having you die, okay, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is what it is. I think it was a good match. I think it's 4 star. I'm gonna give it 4 star, not any higher, because like I just feel like this this match wasn't entirely warranted or needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
But
there.
one of the positives of having Gabe Kidd in, like I said, the Death Riders is the confusion with Tony Schiavone trying to guess if it's Claudio or Gabe. So we have still got that, you know. So, you know, as long as we've got that comedy gold, we stick there. So we got scores there. So, Gina, what would you give this match?
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 4 as well.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 1/4. Predictions, we went Derby, so Monty's on 9, I'm on 8. The girls are on 6. And then we've got Marina Shafir, Willie Uta, Daniel Garcia, Claudio, taking on Tony Storm, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong in an 8-person tornado-style match, or a mixed nuts mayhem. The standoff with Strong and Shafir was done well. I mean, everyone knows they're married, but AEW hasn't told us that. So to see Strong slapping his wife is definitely something on a rewatch. Briscoe ended up scoring a win for his team to end an entertaining fight. Willow and Hardy joined the winners to celebrate. Gina, what were your thoughts on this? Because I've got an opinion, but what's yours?
Um, yeah, I think this is one of those matches that they put together to be like, okay, we need kind of a crowd feel good match, give them what they want. Who's the biggest like faction on here that needs kind of that the audience would just love to see their asses get kicked by some faces? Oh yeah, okay, we'll do the remnants of the Death Riders, you know, sort of thing. Um, I actually found it hilarious to see Marina get hit. But only because I'm a firm believer is you dish it out, you can receive it back, you know. So she's sat there letting everyone like just grind on her husband. So he's like, I'm gonna bash you back. And so that was really entertaining to me. I also loved the little parody with Tony Storm and Orange Cassidy, and their little tango or waltz or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was that they did. I thought that was brilliant. And I enjoyed it. And again, like I said, I think there's always a crowd feel good match that's put in place, and this is what I thought it was. Everybody loves Tony Storm, and even just getting that gold with Orange Cassidy, I think it just made everyone feel happy for how long they've already been sat there watching matches, you know. So yeah, I think this match hit its purpose and what it needed to do. Did it actually need to be on this match card? Not really. But like I said, they always want to feel good match, I guess. So this was it.
Yeah, no, excellent points. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Jax, the thing is, it's like Tony's backstage. You're going, right, we booked the card. Shit, Tony Storm's not doing anything. All right, let's book her in mixed match nuts. You know what I mean? Nuts match. Yeah, well, she's in there, and then she can get the pop from the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Not only that, but they were like, "Oh shit, we also don't have OC. Like, we got to put him in there. Let's just pair them together." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Again, I think you guys have just brought up the right amount of points for this match. It was there. It was an entertainment sort of moment that sort of breaks up a lot of the brutality that we just gotten from the sort of Darby Gabe match. So I could see that like the placement of it was like probably warranted and worked well. But again, it was one of those matches just to length out the match card, you know, and could have been just like easily on a collision, you know, if you ask me, that sort of thing, you know. So it wasn't bad. I actually thought I was actually quite entertained throughout it all. And again, bringing up Roderick and Marina, like I'm also a strong believer of if you dish it out, you could take it. So fair play to Roderick Strong. But yeah, like I think that uh, if anything, this kind of did nothing for either side. I feel like, if you'd have given the Death Riders the win, at least like they wouldn't have looked like they're starting to become jobbers, but that is exactly what they're starting to look like. So the match could have like had a bit more significance if you had the heels win, sorry, instead of losing. But that being said, it was a good, entertaining match,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Monty, anything to add, and start us off with the score?
What a silly match. That's pretty much all I. It was good intergender stuff, but what a silly match. That's really all I. That's what I put down. It was silly. It was a good time. I didn't put too much thought into it. Like I'm sure they didn't put a lot of thought into booking this. And it was what it was. I don't think it again not offensive, not great either, but you can't get too mad. Like you said, you get your popular people out there, you get some interactions that will make it a little unique. It is funny to me that the commentators still are shocked when men hit women as much as we've seen it in AEW, or when women hit men as much as they've done it at this point. It is funny to me to see them react to it like it's not normalized, but it's still. I know it's not the norm, but it's just funny to me. But at the end of the day, I thought this was fine. I do think just like the match before it, you start to ask the question, did it need to be here? But I think you pretty much spoke to that, James. Like we got some superstars just sitting around that we could put on this card, and we're gonna put them on the card. So yeah, I think that's basically what we got here. It was fine. I gave it 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Gina?
Yeah, same 3 3/4.
Jaxie?
I'll go 4.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. All predictions, we went all conglomeration. So Monty's on 10, I'm on 9, the girls on 7. Backstage, Monet had a crash out before the AEW Women's Championship, which was Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander. They started with a simple lock-up sequence as both women tried to overpower each other. Stat ended up getting the first advantage when she sent Hayter out of the ring. The problem with following a match like the one we had before is that the crowd can sometimes be a bit worn out, so they were less vocal. Hayter and Statlander did well, but it put them probably the hardest spot on the card. They picked up the pace, and the fans in the arena woke up a little bit and started reacting. Both women used each other's finisher moves, but couldn't put the other away. It was Stat Daddy finally getting the win with his Saturday night special to retain her championship. Jaxie, what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, again, this match, I thought it was good. I thought it was a little bit on the shorter side for it being like a main title match. But like, how do you know how long it ran?
I reckon about 20 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was a bit shorter than that, maybe. Okay, never mind. Ignore me on that one. But I mean, I think it was a great match. I don't know. It's hard for me because I felt like going into this match, like these are two of my favorite female wrestlers. It was really hard to like make a choice on who I wanted to win versus like making a choice on realistically who's going to win. And with Chris only just starting the beginning of her sort of women's title reign, I thought it would be a bit too early for her to be losing it here. But I'm also a little bit gutted that like she's faced Jamie this early on. And I say that because I kind of didn't want to see Jamie take an L here either, considering a lot of the arguments that have surrounded Jamie is that she never lost it and that she's a strong women's champion before injury, before she had to relinquish. So I kind of was like hoping that she'd kind of like still like stay or remain undefeated at that moment in time. And as we haven't really had much of her in a main title picture yet, I thought she could actually then pick up that momentum once it's eventually back on a heel. But it didn't go that way. And yeah, they worked well together. I just think that overall I felt a bit gutted for Jamie at the end of this match, and I don't think that there could be anything else that should have happened. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like I feel like where do you take Jamie from here? So I'm feeling a bit gutted because I feel like she's at a crossroads right now as to whether or not creators want to push her or just like kind of like have her feeling kind of like what we were discussing about Eddie Kingston, and just kind of forgetting that he's kind of around as well, as he's not really in main storylines. So I'm kind of worried as to where things go for Jamie from here. I don't think this is ultimately the end. She's definitely going to get a push, probably when there's a heel champion. She may even still go after Mercedes and take that TBS title. You never know. But I just felt a bit gutted for her, like taking an L this early on in her return and not really having a significant like build up and story to her title opportunity. That being said, they both worked well together. I think it was a good enough match between the two. Overall, I'm going to give it a 4.25.
4.25. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they should have made a bigger deal of this, like we talk about with Jamie Hayter and stuff like this. But again, I mean, Monty, with so much talent around, and this is not a dig at Jamie Hayter, but I don't really know what a gimmick is. Do you know what I mean? Like, or the character, so to speak. And maybe if she can work on that, I'm not saying turn heel and dye your hair black, but do you know what I mean? A little bit more character work.
I mean, AEW has almost depicted her like they want you to forget that she was a champion and how she lost. Like, if you really think about since she's returned, they almost have, and that's my biggest diss about this is that we had a match that if you've been watching AEW long enough, it felt like a Clash of Titans here. But at the same time, if you really watch the show or you watch how they depicted Jamie going into this match, it didn't really feel like they thought of her as any different than any other early contender that Chris could take on right now, and that's not really fair to Jamie because I think we all know what she like how she carried that division and how good she was as champion. But I think your point is you're right on point, James. Like at that time when she was doing the Britt Baker thing and she kind of broke off from that and kind of did her own thing, but we knew exactly what to expect from her, hard hitting, and she was a heel kind of, but like she left and time, the division kind of moved on without her, and that's not necessarily her fault. But what got Tony to where Tony can't be off these cards? It's a character, and it's being undeniable when it comes to her presentation, and that's what I do have to agree that since she's returned, the look has changed and all that, but she don't really get a lot of time to for promos. We haven't really gotten story beats to kind of help her along. So, again, I think if they do that and they change, like give her actual direction, whether it's face or heel, then I think Jamie has a chance to get back to the top. But this crowd, again, I don't know what was going on in Chicago. Like we talked about, James, how many times they've done shows in Chicago. But man, it took a while for them to actually get into this. And I don't really understand why, because the last match before, it wasn't like the last match was a sprint. Like it was fun, but it wasn't anything crazy in that match that could make you so exhausted to where it takes a lot of stiffness. Until it got really stiff, I don't think the crowd really cared as much as they probably should have. And again, some of that is on AEW because we're looking at this as two world champion caliber people fighting over the most important belt in AEW's women's division. So we expect this to have a different energy about it. The same energy that we would expect them to give that fatal four-way that's in the last match. But that's just not what we got here. I thought it was good. Hayter was like the last person to really beat Chris, and we know Hayter never lost her title, so it do suck that that button has kind of we put a bow on that. But I do think it was some time, and if Hayter can reinvent herself, I think we might have a chance to get her back in position. But I mean, to be fair, a lot of the early AEW champions or earlier AEW champions before Tony kind of took over the division, I mean, just think about them. Like all of them, if they came back right now, you would pick Chris over them for the most part. When it comes to Riho, when it comes to Sheeta, when it comes to Nyla, when it comes to any of them, pretty much almost. When you think about it, they for some reason, I don't know if it's because out of sight, out of mind booking, or is it just whatever, like we feel like this version of the AEW women's division is completely different than the one that Jamie Hayter, ran, and it is to an extent. But yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about just how far it feels like Jamie has fallen when it comes to a presentation point of view. But they can work on that. I think they have time, and I think Chris is a good champion to carry the division right now. And I'm excited to see what we do next. I think this is like a 4. I thought this was a good match, but yeah, it would have been nice if the crowd could have got more into it. And like I mentioned earlier, if AEW presented this like the match it had the potential to be.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Gina, as we speak about interesting times for Jamie Hayter, but interesting times for Statlander as well, because again, a great champion needs great challengers, and I'm not saying Jamie Hayter is not, but you look on the horizon and see maybe he's coming up. You just hope they don't fall back to the kind of Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné monopoly, even though those two are so mega talented. I've got no problem with them being featured, but I want Statlander to become on their level. Do you know what I mean? And be treated as such.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want her to be seen as a champion that just gets one or two of the same contenders and faces them for the next 3 to 4 months in a loop and then loses it next time to one of those two. And she's not really had storylines or had opportunities to face the other people. That I really hope she doesn't fall into that bracket, because as much as I do love Mercedes and I do love Tony, this year has been epic for both of them. So I do think that they both have the time and scope to be able to just take a bit of, well, I say take a backburn. They can still be in storylines and have grudge matches and things like that. But I just don't think that they need to be in a constant loop with whoever's the current women's champ. I think the current women's champ needs to go out there and show that she can go against various people and not just one person every 2 weeks and it's that same person. So I really hope that she doesn't fall into that. I think Chris is a great champion, and I think she's still got a long way to go to show us what type of champion she is. So yeah, I still look forward to her run. It is unfortunate for Jamie. I agree massively with Monty and Jax. I really like Jamie, but it's not really feeling like it's her time.
Yeah, without a doubt. What we score out of 5?
Oh, I'll still give this a 4.25 because I still like both of these ladies. And I think that they both put on a really good match. It's just unfortunate that the crowd wasn't hyped all throughout for them.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give it 4.25 as well. Predictions, we went to stats. So Monty's on 11, I'm on 10, the girls are on 8. In the Continental Championship final, which was John Moxley and Kazuchika Okada, and the Rainmaker extended his hand, but Moxley flipped him off in response, which didn't seem to please the champion that well. Once Okada had control, began focusing on the leg for a long time. The Rainmaker had the upper hand. He knew he had the advantage, and he started to seem overconfident. He was taking his time, being methodical in his offense. Mox was selling too many injuries for this to be kind of like a thrilling as a bout with Fletcher, but it made it work to make it feel unique. And after a hard-fought battle, Moxley was able to hit the Death Rider for the win, to become the new Continental Champion. Monty, I mean, again, predictions. You're the only one to see this as well. So I was shocked. What were your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I'm conflicted because I'm of two minds of it. Like I don't think it was better than the Fletcher match, and I think that kind of hurt it. And I think that's the tricky thing when you're kind of doing the semifinals and finals the same night. Like I understand we don't have, like I understand this is not like the G1, and you don't have the finals the night before, and then I mean the semifinals the night before, and then the final. But that is a little bit more effective sometimes because I literally just watched this same guy have a better match with his semifinals and that semifinal opponent, and that kind of took away from this, in my opinion, because you immediately just watch a faster pace, more dramatic match. Even though I thought Moxley and Okada did a good job of adding drama, I love Moxley selling the leg and the David versus Goliath type of feeling that this match kind of gave. My favorite moment was definitely when Moxley kicked out of the Rainmaker because I'm still never going to be used to when the few times people do kick out of a straight up flush Rainmaker and Okada was shaking, and he was even confused by it. And I love that somebody like Okada who don't show emotions a lot was was perplexed. And I think that was like my favorite part of it was the storytelling in that manner. So I love that. And then Moxley, of course, hitting his own rainmaker and then going on a flurry to kind of power through. And yeah, man, I don't doubt Moxley, man. I told you, like, he is outside of Hangman Page, and maybe not so much now, but I still think Hangman Page is the most important guy or like one of the best stories in AEW. But Moxley's right there, man, and it's hard to ever doubt him. I figured that if whoever got to the final against Okada would probably be the one to win. And both of these guys, you couldn't really doubt. You couldn't really go against. So I was like, yeah, I don't think you go through the whole Continental Classic and then not crown a new global unified or whatever they call in this thing at this point that we have with the championship. I'm not even sure what we call it, but yeah. So this was good. This is really cool. I don't think it was better than the Fletcher match. That did take away from it, and I understand people who are hard on Okada. I do think that Okada is still never. I don't know when we're gonna get the Okada that I think people want. And I want to warn AEW fans. This is not me being a hater because I'm a New Japan lifer and all that. It could be a mixture of things. It could be Okada is not that guy anymore, or he don't want to be that guy anymore. Or it could be just like I mentioned earlier, just about the feeling of what he's doing. But I thought he gave a good effort here. I think it's unfair to be like he was lazy here. I thought they did a really good job telling the story, but I thought they both was in a tough spot because you ran the risk. Now, trust me, this is way better than the Takeshita match. So Okada wasn't really in trouble. But Moxley was definitely up against it because Fletcher just gave him a really good, close to a classic match, in my opinion. So I think that kind of hurt this. But overall, this is really good, and I was satisfied with it. And congratulations, man. I mean, Moxley makes history again. I mean, what hasn't he done? Like I mentioned, he is Mr. AEW, whether you like him or not.
Yeah, I think this is the thing as well, because Moxley gave a babyface promo afterwards, and Gene, I'm starting to think, so they turning him face then, or is it could, again, we thought after the world title loss, well, I did, that the Death Riders would turn on him, and I guess that might happen, but it seems it's going to be a few months again. Do you know what I mean? Which, Moxley back on top, it seems, in a way.
Yeah, I kind of thought that Mox was going to continue a little bit on a downward spiral because he had been on top for quite a lot of 2025, So I kind of thought more towards the end of the year, it would more be on a downhill sort of stretch for him, and then he would be booted from the Death Riders, and then maybe that would be his face turn. So I honestly did not see this coming. I mean, I think again from my predictions for the Continental Classic, we can tell that I didn't have any of these guys in the final. So for this to be the outcome, I'm not entirely mad at it because I was shocked by it because I didn't see this coming, So I'm not mad about it. I do like to see Mox back on top because again, when I think of AEW, I think of Moxley. And I do love to see him sort of in charge because he can carry this show. And he carries it well. But yeah, either way, I really thought that Okada was going to maybe get this one over him. Again, pleasantly surprised. So it's nice to see. But yeah, I didn't know what they were going to do with kind of two heels in this final and who the crowd were going to be behind. But I'm pleasantly surprised. And yeah, I thought it was a good match. I do agree a little bit with Monty, though. I do feel like Mox's match with Fletcher was a little bit better, but I'm not trying to say anything bad about Okada here in that sense. I just think it doesn't help having both matches the same night.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And Jackson, I'll talk about Okada. 647 days since he won the Continental Classic. Someone else is champion, but he is still a champion, though. I think he's got one of the other ones as we talk about. I don't know, but again, this was
yeah. I think that you guys have brought up really excellent points throughout this whole thing, and just like my sister, I didn't have either of these in the final, so I think the great, what I would say is great about the outcome of this tournament is that I didn't see it coming. It wasn't predictable, or to me, it wasn't, at least anyway. I have to also shout out the same moment that Monty did. I did not see Mox kicking out of that Rainmaker, and I looked just as shocked as Okada did at that moment. I can't say I wasn't a little bit disappointed though. If I was Takeshita, I would have come and I would have fucking cost Okada that title. I would have come back out with that same screwdriver. I would have got my ass involved sneakily and made sure that Okada got fucked over. But I'm more disappointed in Takeshita for not doing that. I wanted him to come out and ruin it for Okada in that sense. That being said, this match went really well, and I think that there was a lot of moments where Okada just played up to the utmost of his ego and his cockiness could do. And this ended up being sort of like the downfall for him. He really underestimated Mox at the very end of the match there, and that's what led to Mox winning. So I'm bitter because I lost out on the points when it comes to this Continental Classic. But if there was going to be a time for Okada to lose it, I'm not mad at it being to Mox. I thought this was a great match.
Yeah, and don't worry about predictions. Monty wins everything anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm not even,
I couldn't believe it when I looked. How the fuck did he get mocked? Anyway, but
real quick, you mentioned that like Okada's still a champ in some way. Which belt is it that Okada still holds?
Oh, so you ask the one that was unified and then ununified. Is it
So they unified it and then they ununified it?
International champion? He's still the international champion,
right,
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Wait, so he was both international and continental?
Yeah, and it was unified title.
They kind of unified it when he won both, right?
He beat Kenny, didn't he? And he unified it, and then he ununified it for the Continental Classic. It makes perfect sense.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Oh my gosh. That's why I said whatever they got going on, they didn't build. I don't even know. I'm
surprised I remembered it. I knew it was the Intercontinental title, so I knew it was like Inter. So I think it's the international title.
Can we just like have one or the other? I'm getting so confused with these names now.
Well, don't worry. We've still got the TNT title and whatever the fucking national championship Ricochet has got as well.
Oh, whatever. I forgot about that.
I don't know.
And don't forget, we've got trios champions as well.
Yes, yeah, apparently.
Like, I don't know where our trios teams have gone either, God, I missed the days of Death Triangle. Wait, who's the trios tag champs?
The Ops at this moment of talking.
Oh.
That's not confusing at all. Yeah, I mean, the thing I thought as well, did Darby Allin getting injured change things? Because again, it's just an odd pairing having Mox and Okada. Was Darby and Mox meant to be the semi? No, no offense to Carl Fletcher and that. And there was a cool moment with Okada kicking out one before he got beaten. But anyway, scores out of 5. Then Monty, what would you give it?
Yeah, I give it 4.5. I thought it was really good. And I think Jackson basically also explained my logic too, because I thought that Takeshita would play a factor in that finish, but I still got the result, so I ain't mad.
Yay! Well, Gina, what would you give it?
Yeah, I still thought it was a good match, and it still shocked me at the end to see the ending and who won, etc. So I'll still give it a 4.5 as well.
4.5, and Jax?
Yeah, 4.5 sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4.25 predictions. Well, the rest of us are non-applicable for this because obviously we all thought it was good. Well, Fletcher and Takeshita were our choices. But Monty went Mox. So Monty's on 12, 1 away from a perfect score as we head towards the main event. I'm on 10. The girls are on 8. I can't think of a worse way to end it. But the main event was the fatal 4-way for the men's AEW Championship with Samoa Joe defended against MJF, Swerve and Hangman. All 4 men stood in the middle of the ring after the bell before breaking off into pairs so they could start throwing punches. Hangman got the better of the initial exchange, but one huge shot from Joe slowed him down. The first several minutes were a series of exchanges of all 4 men taking turns fighting each other, but Swerve and Hangman had minimal contact until later in the fight. All 4 men worked hard to make this a good main event, so no one really stood out. MJF and Swerve had the most entertaining moments together, though, and since there were no DQs in the match, there was no one to stop Hook, Powerhouse Hobbs and Shibata from interfering. After they cleared out by some referees, MJF ended up winning the match by pinning Joe with his Heat Seeker power drive. Your new AEW World Champion, MJF. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
I thought it was a good match. It also kind of went exactly how I predicted it would kind of go. Especially with the addition of MJF coming in with that cash in with his contract. First of all, I'll just say with regards to the ending, I kind of saw that coming. So that's the reason why I did predict this. I would kind of thought to myself, MJF wouldn't necessarily cash in if he's not planning to actually fully take that belt. Also, even though Joe has recently won the belt, he has relatively recently won the belt. He's a good transitional champion. Joe is great on the mic. Everyone loves him, whether he's a face or a heel. And so I don't think he necessarily needs to hold it for a good 100 days or so for it to be impactful. So it wasn't going to really hurt him to lose it here. And with Hangman and Swerve in the addition, they were just going to be too distracted with their current feuds to see MJF pull off this win. So that's kind of how I saw the outcome coming of this. That being said, I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed seeing MJF being a prick to all three of them. I enjoyed seeing the little team ups between Swerve and Hangman, and then them kind of realizing, no, we're not on the same team. We're fighting for the same thing. So yeah, it was good. I don't know. The thing is, this match was good, but I also don't know with how heavy this pay-per-view has been so focused on the Continental Classic as to whether it took a little bit of the hype away from this main match, if that makes sense. There was so much for the Continental Classic on this match card with 3 matches, that I even forgot that this match was to come. I think I was watching this with Jax, and as soon as the Mox match finished, I went to say goodnight to her. And she said, "What do you mean? We still have one more match?" Because I had completely forgotten about this match being on the match card. Not because it wasn't hyped up and not because I don't enjoy the guys in it, but I generally was so focused on the Continental Classic, So I don't know if that maybe took a little bit of the hype away from it. But when the match did get started, it was just great. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen because everyone was just beating on each other. So I still overall enjoyed it. I just forgot it was on this match card until it was due to start.
No, but that's an excellent point. And the problem is, it is just match after. This is the 13th match on the card, and even the most die-hard fan would be like, "Okay, guys, is this the last one? Is this the last one?" Especially the Continental Classic took 40 minutes with the promos beforehand and everything going in, and then this main event, I was like, "Oh shit, there's 20 minutes left." So again, I'm not saying it felt rushed on an AEW pay-per-view. That would be crazy, Swerve had Green Lantern gear, and MJF does get good entrances, but Jaxie, has MJF had work done? Has he had a hair transplant, or is he just a different position? Because I don't know, man. It looks different.
How would I know about a hair transplant?
Well, I don't know. Does he look different to you? I think he looks different. I know he.
I don't think I've noticed his hair. I can't say that I've noticed his hair. No. I think that he has an issue with his level of spray tan, and knowing when to say stop.
I think he sprays his hair. Does he spray his hair? Would that be? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, but that's a possibility, But again, I think that I have a lot of the same thoughts as my sister in terms of I kind of saw this outcome coming, not necessarily in a bad way though, because this is classic MJF. I couldn't I don't think we could discern that anymore, of course it would be him that would capitalize off of someone else's sort of move or anything like that. So yeah, this went the way I expected it to, but I'm not mad at at them doing it this way either, because if I thought that it all kind of it semi protects itself. When you're in a fatal 4-way, you're all kind of protected in terms of who's taking the pin and how and this, that, and the other. But I thought all 4 men worked well together, and I think that there was enough time within the match to give all 4 moments all 4 men moments to shine. So yeah, I did enjoy this match. I did think that it was a bit slow to start with, but then it kind of did pick up a lot more as it got started.
Yeah. So Gina saw this coming. Jaxie saw it coming. Monty needed to see it coming for a perfect score, but alas, did go for Joe. I mean, Monty. I'm sick. It's such a shame you didn't end with another perfect score.
I can feel your pain. I really can feel it. Yeah, so agonizing, isn't it? Yeah, I don't really care. This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. It don't really hurt to have this match. It's funny that I thought MJF was almost comedy relief, and then he ended up winning at times in this match. So, yeah, I mean, It makes sense. I mean, Joe is, I don't want to say he's a transitional champion, but yeah, I mean, this is kind of what happened the last time we were in this situation, except it was the opposite way. So if you kind of think about it, it's like MJF kind of got revenge for that loss way back when. So, it was what it was, but it is a fatal four way. I'm more of a triple threat guy myself. I think those have chances to be a lot more dramatic. It was interference in this match. It was again a lot of what you would expect from a match in this situation for the title because of the stipulation. But yeah, I wasn't offended. It was a good match overall. But yeah, I think you guys hit it on the nose with the show being so focused on the Continental Classic. That felt like it almost felt like Moxley should have went last. And I know that seems weird because we did get a title change for the World Championship, and I'm sure Max is gonna have a pretty good second run with it. But yeah, man, it was what it was. I don't really know what else to kind of add other than this was fine. Everybody looked like a star. It kind of became a spot fest. I didn't really think Swerve or Hangman was gonna walk out of there, so I decided to play it safe, and MJF won. So it is what it is. But hey, I won the AEW league, so I'm not complaining.
Well, but the thing is, when are AEW going to learn to have like a live collision the night before, something like that, to have the kickoff matches on and a couple of other ones, and then you
Oh,
can have a
100%.
full pay-per-view like this? I mean, imagine, like you said, if the semi-finals were on like a live collision the night before, and then the final. I know the semi-final match was the better, but you understand what I'm trying to say. They're all or
Yeah.
something to that effect, you know.
Yeah, and then the main event, the actual Continental Classic would have got more time. The main
Yeah.
event could have got a little bit more investment in. I mean, it's a lot of things you could do, in my opinion. But we've been asking them to cut these cards for years now, man. And Tony, at this point, I don't think they care. When a big AEW pay per view is coming up, just get ready for those 12+ matches. It's gonna be a long night, and yeah, it's gonna be great wrestling. But I wonder if they realize, and it's just my opinion. I'm not trying to speak for anybody else here. But I wonder if they realize that I feel like the shows would be way more impactful if we could. Like, it is a such thing as too much great wrestling on one show. And I know that sounds insane, but what I'm trying to say is that when you, like you mentioned, when you have someone talking about, well, all right, I'm checking out, ready to go to bed, and then we got an entire world title main event. You don't think that's somewhat of a problem with
Mm.
pacing? And like I mentioned before, like that's my biggest issue with AEW in general. I think the wrestling great. I think they have a lot of talent. Most of the time, the stories are at least entertaining, even if I don't care so much about what they're trying to do. I think they at least give you what your bang for your buck. But man, could we pace AEW much better? That would be my biggest takeaway. But overall, shout out to MJF getting back on top, and I can't wait to see where we're going with this because last time he turned face as a world champion. Hopefully, he stays here this time so we can see him be truly evil and on top. So I would like to see where we're going with Max on top. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Without a doubt. Right. So scores out of 5 then. Gina, what would you give it?
Despite the fact that I forgot about this match on the match card, I was still thoroughly entertained by it. So I'm still going to give it a 4.5.
4.5, Jax.
Yep, 4.5 from me too.
Monty.
4.
Give it a 4. Yeah, I will say, like I said, because the AEW paper's so long, I had to split it up. So like 3 hours last night and the last hour today. So my dad was there watching it. So a couple of notes. When, but he really confused me during the Continental Classic final where he's going, so where's his father then? And I'm like, what? And he goes, where's his father? I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, his name's Okada. I said, he's not waiting for fucking his father then. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And the other thing he said as well was that Joe is a big old bastard. So, I mean, take that as you will.
Accurate.
Yeah, I know, it's just, oh, he's a big bastard, isn't he? Anyway, predictions. Like we said, Monty did throw away a perfect score. He went Joe. I mean, so did I, but that's not the point, That's not the point. The girls went, the girls went MGF. So the final scores: Jaxie Gina on 9, I'm on 10, Monty on 12. So Monty wins again. Yay! Whoa! So the prediction league final standings for AEW is Jaxie James on 2. We just couldn't be separated. Gina on 3 and Monty on 6. So, I mean,
Woo.
I've congratulated anyway, but yeah, you won all 3 leagues this year. So I guess well done, you know.
Wow. Wow. Am I,
Oh,
am I the only one watching this crap?
Congratulations, Monty.
Thank you,
yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Don't stop your applause. Matter of fact, read the results again, James. Do it one more time. Anyway,
Not
no. Go ahead. What you about to say?
I'm about to say, not since 2017 has someone won all 3. I'm not saying it was
Oh,
me all those years ago, but that is still something to
wow.
be
Was you
pleased
the
of,
only
you know?
one on the pod all those years ago as well, though?
Very funny. Oh, great. You have one good year, Gina, and you come at me, didn't you? No, well done, Monty. You know, well done. And no, I wasn't alone. I had people. So, so overall rating then for the show, Jaxie, I'll start with you. What is your match MVP and score out of 10? I'm going to give you all 3.
Um,
'Cause your match is
overall score, I'm gonna give it a 7 3/4.
Mhm.
Um, match of the night, I'm gonna go Okada Mox. Um, it's hard to choose an MVP. I think I'm gonna give it to MJF just for his tenacity, like for like just turning back up and being like, I'm contracting, I'm entering this match, and he won it, so I'll do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Gina?
Overall score, I'll give it a 7.5, I think, as well. Um, match of the night. I think I might give it to Moxley and Fletcher,
Mm-hmm.
match of the night. But I also might give my MVP to MJF as well for winning the belt.
Yeah, excellent choices. Monty?
Yeah, 7 3/4 is a great score. MVP is Mox, Match, Mox, and Fletcher.
Yeah, and again, my match, Mox and Fletch. Uh, MVP, MJF, and score. I'm going to give it an 8.5. But again, my rating for 8.5 is kind of middle of the road, you know? So that is nearly it. Gina, I'll finish on you. Actually, I shouldn't really say that. What are your thoughts on the AEW for what we've just caught up with? We're at the end of December. There is one more show for AEW, but we'll cover that next time. So, what are your thoughts for AEW?
Um, do you know what? It's hard because like at one point I feel like I find it's good and bad. I find I'm 50-50 with AEW at the moment. They have great wrestlers, great shows, great match cards, but sometimes, like Monty said, it can sometimes feel like it's a bit much, and it can kind of wrestle you out a little bit. I enjoy wrestling. I love watching all these wrestling shows, but sometimes I do feel quite overwhelmed and wrestled out. And these long match cards where we get like 4 or 5 pre-show matches or matches that don't really need to be on the match card. I think that will bring it down. That will bring down the enjoyment of it. So yeah, it's good and it's bad. We've had some great returns. We have some potential storylines that could make 2026 great for AEW. But like we all just kind of established, even with regards to all the current belt holders, some of these belts feel irrelevant. So if they want them to feel important, they really need to start treating it like that. Otherwise, we're just going to keep forgetting about them. So yeah, I'm 50-50. I enjoy some of what AEW are giving us, but I am not like how I felt about AEW maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where it felt like my number one wrestling show. I don't think it is anymore.
Wow, breaking news there. But yeah, no, even the pods, you know, to review 30 matches, it does take out, even though it's only been a couple hours, it's the longest pods that, well, I feel like we do in a way, like, because there's just so much to get through sometimes, you know?
Definitely. And like it sometimes feels daunting, but then we also really want to give our views on each match still equally. So, I'm glad that we all feel committed enough to go through these match cards, especially if there are those who listen to this podcast because they don't watch the shows. You're welcome. You're welcome for
Yeah,
us
we
having
should.
to sit through it and review for you.
Yeah, we should be committed for it. But no, that is it for AEW. Don't forget, across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on X and Twitch and Instagram at Jaxie Scarlett.
Yeah, and Monty.
At Mount Monty Pod, interesting things are developing there. I don't post a lot, but when I do post, you guys will hopefully be excited with what I have to say and put out. But other than that, after Wrestle Kingdom, I think I had to leave the House of Torture, but we'll talk about that another time.
And Gina, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitch and X at Purple Pain.
I think the Double N also on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email to doubleupodcast@gmail.com and YouTube, the Double Up Podcast. We're celebrating 10 years of the Double Up with shorts, universe modes, and clips from any event we go to. And we have just passed over 1 million views on our YouTube channel. All right. And again, I don't know if that's good, but it's sounds pretty fucking good. So just thank everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to those that listen.
Just keep coming
Thank
in doing
you.
that. Yeah. And of course, the podcast is live on YouTube and also on SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode, seeing as we're all caught up now, it is the WNR Awards and the year-end predictions, which will take place next weekend. I wonder who won the year-end predictions. I wonder.
Definitely it's not me.
I think the three of us should just, Jack, Gina, and I will just miss next week's pod, and Monty can do it because that's what it's going to be. But hey, we have to do it. Until then, I've been James Bones. I was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thanks for joining me, Jaxie.
As always, it's been fun, and until the next one.
And of course, the mind of Monty, the prediction, who's not the king yet, but you might be crowned next weekend.
Yeah, I'm taking a bow like Hunter Hearst Helmsley. All the people who remember that gimmick. Yeah, whatever.
And of course, the genius of Gina. Thanks for joining me, Gina. Don't forget you are wind beneath my wings.
No problem, James. Thanks for having me. I look forward to next week and our award show.